In 1984, Richard Scrushy and four others formed AmCare with an initial investment of $50,000 from the founders. In 1985, AmCare is renamed HealthSouth Rehabilitation Corp. Its roster includes 5 outpatient rehab clinics and 1 inpatient rehab hospital. In 1986, HealthSouth becomes a public company with $15 million in capital raised. In 1989, HealthSouth moves to the New York Stock Exchange and follows that with the purchase of its first acute care hospital for $20 million. In 1996, HealthSouth falsely reports a net income of $221 million for the year. Its actual net income was $132 million. From this year on until 2002, the company reported total net income of $1.3 billion when it actually suffered a net loss of $1.8 billion. In 2002, insider trading lawsuits are filed. The Securities and Exchange Commission follows with its launch of an insider trading investigation. In 2003, the FBI launches an insider trading investigation, and its agents later raid HealthSouth's office. The company stock exchange suspended from New York Stock Exchange, and Scrushy is fired. In 2004, HealthSouth is delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. A report issued key findings. Fraud was accomplished by making more than $2.7 billion in false entries. In 2004 to 2007, massive restructuring effort went forward, which included a $425 million worth of settlements from the SEC and U.S. Department of Justice, and a relisting on the New York Stock Exchange. Richard Scrushy, founder, owner, and CEO, altered earnings numbers to meet analysts' expectations and improperly capitalized expenses, overestimated insurance reimbursements, overvalued fixed assets, and used faulty reserve accountings. He was convicted of accounting fraud. Aaron Beam, co-founder and former HealthSouth chief financial officer, was charged with and pleaded guilty to bank fraud for making false representations to HealthSouth's lenders. Weston Smith, CFO, whistleblower, pleaded guilty to accounting fraud charges. HealthSouth understated its accounts receivable reserves and overstated its revenues. In addition to the revenue recognition irregularities, misclassification of expenses was a common practice at HealthSouth. HealthSouth put some of the costs removed from the income statement into areas like capital costs and cash, making a smooth line on the balance sheet moving forward. Another big area of fraud was around mergers and acquisitions. Scrushy admits that they were greedy. The temporary wealth experienced by someone who commits fraud is not worth the humiliation and damage to reputation that happens once they are caught. After serving 3 months in a maximum security prison for his involvement in the fraud, Beam emerged a better man. Even though he was labeled a felon, had to pay restitution, and on top of that, he was unemployed. He found a job at a golf course mowing lawns, but after management discovered who he was, they fired him. He found himself back on the unemployment bench. It was there where his wife encouraged him to use this time and experience talking with companies about fraud. Moving forward onto something good out of the bad led to public speaking about fraud. He began speaking at LSU to business students about fraud. Scrushy also began speaking about fraud when he got out of prison. There should have been less opportunities available to individuals that were able to manipulate financial statements. Also, the relationship an employee has with the firm are crucial and played significantly in the downfall to the HealthSouth Corporation, along with the crucial relationships employees have with suppliers and other colleagues. Following the delisting of HealthSouth Corporation from the New York Stock Exchange, levels of transparency eroded. Moreover, financial transparency with an institution is imperative in order to prevent and remedy such scandals, as the greatest remedy is through supervision and enforcement of control to ensure appropriate business diligence. The segregation of duties should have been in place in order to prevent scandal and control deficiencies. The level of employee engagement should be monitored to ensure safe practices occurring. For example, monitoring unusual hours or employees who do not take holidays. The Securities and Exchange Commission charged rehabilitation giant HealthSouth Corporation and Chairman Richard Scrushy with civil accounting fraud, accusing the company of overstating earnings by at least $1.4 billion since 1999. HealthSouth overstated by at least $800 million by the third quarter and had a loss of $406 million in the fourth quarter. The company operates 1,700 outpatient surgery, diagnostic imaging, and rehabilitation centers in all 50 states and abroad. Scrushy was ordered by a Delaware judge to pay back $25 million in loans that he took from the company in 1999. In 2009, Scrushy was ordered to pay $2.9 billion. The Birmingham-based operator of inpatient rehab hospitals now owns 102 hospitals and dozens of home health and outpatient rehab clinics across 28 states and Puerto Rico. With several hospitals added to its roster during the past year, HealthSouth has planned to add 6 new hospitals per year by way of new construction and acquisition. HealthSouth began paying its shareholders in October 2013 a quarterly dividend of 18 cents. CEO Jay Grinney has said that the dividend is the result of the recovery and growth of his company has experienced. He also said that the company plans to grow that dividend in future years.